Oh, man, it's good to be back. Guys, could you all give me a little space, though? What are you talking about, Bradley?
I do not see a problem.
Bradley, we're just invested in the podcast, now that we've tried our hand at hosting it. Okay, but does that mean you weren't invested before?
We decline to comment.
Uh-huh. Well, I appreciate you three handling things while I was out. It really, really means a lot. But hey, I can take it from here. I'm back now.
Hey! I helped too!
Oh, hey, Smog. Yeah, I heard you on last week's episode. You did great.
Thanks. It was super fun.
Oh, that reminds me. Are you and Lord Devereaux cool now?
We are the same temperature we have always been.
No, cousin. I believe Bradley's asking if you and Smog have resolved your differences.
Oh, yes. We have come to an agreement on how the dragon can earn his keep.
Okay, that's great. What did you guys decide on? I'm curious. It's actually really quite clever. You see, Lord Devereaux experiences an inordinate amount of solicitors, knocking on his door selling everything from lawn care to Girl Scout cookies. He has numerous signs, but they're often ignored.
The bard is correct. I have become tired of the constant interruption.
Oh, man, I get that. I have the same issue at my house. So, where does Smog come in then?
Oh, I scared them off. Wanna see?
Sure.
No soliciting. Take another step and I will burn the flesh from your bones.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that seems like it would work.
Yes, it's quite effective.
Oh, that reminds me. We are finally checking out some entries from this month's challenge this week on the show. So, Smog, do you want to go ahead and introduce us?
Wait, really? I get to say the name?
Yeah, it's all you, bud.
Welcome, mortals, to the Saved as Draft podcast.
How was that?
Absolutely perfect. Oh, they grow up so fast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 82 of the Saved as Draft podcast. After 2 weeks of family visiting, I'm finally back to host the show once more. That means it's time to check out some of the amazing entries that we've received so far as part of the Smogust's Story Hoard Challenge this month that I'm hosting in partnership with the Circus Dragon. For those of you who don't know, the challenge is offering daily art prompts from Circus Dragon right here on Substack. Each one includes an optional text prompt pairing that I wrote as well, if you'd like a little nudge to get your story or poem started. Circus Dragon's art has been powering my challenges for about a year now, and it has been an absolute honor to co-host this challenge with her. I'll leave a link to the week 1 and 2 directory in the show notes, and if you'd like to check out some of the options, you can find them there. Remember, prompts are open all month, and there are prizes on the line. Winners will get a special interview on the show here, and an original art piece sent to them by Circus Dragon herself. I'll include a link to the challenge rules and scoring info as well in the show notes. Now that we're back to a mostly normal episode, today's going to be nice and packed. We'll start with our community spotlight, and then we'll recap some of the top stories from the first 2 weeks of the challenge. From there, we'll hop into a brand new update in a segment that I'm adding about my cosmic horror novel. Yes, you heard that right. I'm working on the damn thing again. It's been 10 years now, it's time to finish it. So I've got some cool updates to share about recent chapters I've written. It's enough to justify its own segment, which is really awesome, so please look forward to that later in the episode. As I get back into the groove of things this week as well, I'm planning to resume interviews soon. We'll start with the remainder of the Halls of Pandemonium Challenge winners. So next up, I'm going to be interviewing the Middleweight Bracket winner, Namita Call. Stay tuned for more news on that, and you'll be able to submit your own questions for her ahead of the interview as it goes with all of the winner interviews that I do. Really excited to chat with this amazing writer, poet, and artist. For now, though, let's dive right into this week's Community Spotlight. This week's Community Spotlight is on Terrifying Tales, aka CJ Knight. This is an author that I've been following for much of my time on Substack. He's also been a guest on the show in a prior episode. It's an amazing interview that includes the real-life story of how he was once a detective before he became a writer. It's an amazing conversation. I'll make sure to include a link in the show notes, but it's episode 40 for any of you listening. Terrifying Tales is also the creator of Blackheart, who I've mentioned on Substack as well. And of course, Blackheart is the primary antagonist of Book 1 in my Devine series, The Order of the Pawn. Now, as you may know, I often welcome other writers into my fantasy sci-fi realm, and CJ Knight, aka Terrifying Tales, submitted a story about someone who had made a pact with the Rot. It was an amazing concept, and I immediately DM'd him and asked if I could use it in the series. He said yes, and that's how Blackheart became a fundamental part of Devine now and going forward. But the accolades don't stop there. Terrifying Tales has done some truly inspired stories here on Substack. And the reason why I wanted to spotlight him this week is that I was recently replaying the video game Halo Reach, and I thought of a story that Terrifying Tales did set in that same universe. His story is titled A Son of Reach, and I thought of it as I was playing through the game because honestly it's such a great story and it fits right into the world. I feel like he captured that universe really well, and it's just one of those reminders that, Terrifying Tales, CJ Knight, is an author who really can't do it all. I love his work, and honestly, I think you will too. So find a link to his profile in the show notes, and thank you again to CJ Knight for being a part of this community. And yeah, this section of the show has always been just me kind of mentioning people that have been on my mind that week. But I would love to hear about people that you want nominated for a community spotlight here on the podcast. So if there's anyone that you've met recently or someone whose work you're a big fan of, drop a link to their profile in the show's comments and I'll take a look. It'd be a great way to get some new faces on here. All that being said, next up, we'll take a look at the top stories from weeks 1 and 2 of the Smogust Story Hoard Challenge. But first, let's take a look at a word from our sponsor. Today's episode of the Saved as Draft podcast is sponsored by Dungeon Brothers.
Greetings, mortals. My name is Rick, and I am a fire dragon.
And I'm Greg. I'm an ice dragon.
We are two brothers who work in Devine real estate, and we've made it our mission to help dragons find better homes.
That's right. Let me ask you, have you ever wished you could set up in a nice abandoned dungeon instead of another boring cavern?
I know I have.
Rick and I are excited to announce the premiere of our new Devine newspaper, Dungeon Brothers. Every time arc, that's a month in Earth time, we'll deliver you news on the latest dungeon listings, freshly revamped by our team of experienced dragon professionals.
We are turning dilapidated dungeons into dragon domiciles.
And let me ask you, what goes better together than Dungeons and Dragons?
Careful, Greg. Don't want to get sued.
Oh, yeah, good point. In any case, if you're looking for a new dragon domicile of your own, subscribe to Dungeon Brothers today for the latest listings. And now, back to the show.
And we're back. So we're just about halfway through the Smogust Story Hoard Challenge, and I gotta say, I love seeing all the new faces this month as new writers join one of my challenges for the first time. So, one thing I've noticed this month so far is that we have less entries than normal. Now, there's a lot of reasons this could be happening. I've never done an art-based challenge before. I've also been away with family visiting the last 2 weeks, which I know hasn't helped. That being said, what has been submitted is some of the best work I've seen yet, so it's definitely, the quality is there. That being said, the Circus Dragons art for this challenge is incredible, so if you have a chance to check it out, I promise that it will inspire you. So next up, we'll take a look at who's leading in each of the 3 scoring brackets, and then we'll look at a few stories from the Unranked Bracket as well. And again, as a reminder, scoring is based on a combination of likes, comments, and restacks all added together. Brackets are decided based on the number of subscribers you have on Substack, and then, as I said, there's an unranked bracket for those who just want to hang out and have fun. Lightweight is for folks with 0 to 125 subscribers. Middleweight is for 125 to 300 subscribers, and heavyweight is for those with 300 subscribers or more. So, we'll take a look at the top 3 authors in each bracket as of week 2 here, and I'll grab a few stories at random, like I said, from Unranked as well. And that's the structure here. It comes out to 12 full-sized shout-outs, which is far more than I normally do, but hey, like I said, I'm excited to be back, and I really want to share some of these stories here. So, strap in. We're going to take a look at each one. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then I'm also going to read some excerpts, including a few extended excerpts as well. So a few surprises in store waiting for you. But hey, enough of me yapping. Let's dive in and take a look at what we've got so far for the Smogust's Story Hoard Challenge. Starting with the lightweight bracket, in third place as of this writing is Jonathan Vance with a score of 6 points. His top story for the challenge thus far is called Tea at the End of All Things, which was for the first prompt. So let's talk about it. Now, something that I've loved about Jonathan's work from the moment I first read it is that this man knows how to make a rich, palpable atmosphere in his stories. The way that he sets a scene and then runs with it is something that I continue to strive for in all of my work. With this piece, he paints a scene that's rich with lore and backstory, but it's rooted in the moment. There's a deep, deep sense of regret and longing here that comes full circle by the end. You can feel the tension between the characters in both their body language and, of course, the dialogue. It's a single moment, but it's beautifully captured through superb imagery and pacing. I mean, I was fully immersed right up until that final, chilling, haunting line. I loved this story, so let's check out an excerpt so you can see what it's got. That is when the knight in all black came. "It is a fine thing to have done with such a miserable life," he said. "Have you come to see it crumble, Black?" I asked him, my smile unwavering. "We both know there is no time for such things now." He came to me and sat, leaning against the birch. It rotted and screamed at his touch. "How is Arlon?" My smile faded with those words. Finally. "He's better than you will be, in the end." "Oh, I have called them, and they have come. Before long, you will know pain too." The all-black knight laughed at my words, but not maliciously. It was the laugh of a father amused by his small son. "Oh, Varian, you mistake me for another. My friend, I am pain. I am the grip of the shackles, the twisting of chains, the agony of knowing you have already failed your people. And I wish it not need to be so, but I am this. I am this truth." Like, come on, seriously, what are we doing here? This was amazing. I swear, if Fenton gets a chance to read this story from Jonathan Vance, he's going to have another author to add to his list of people he wished would write Devine instead of me. Fantastic work to start us off. In second place, on the lightweight leaderboard, is Arlo Vell with a score of 14 points. Their top story thus far for the challenge is Pouches and the Glow Roach Forest, which was for the second prompt. Arlo's work here is excellent. The quality, depth, and polish on display is amazing. I feel like it would take me weeks to write something like this. In particular, the element I loved most was this relationship that it establishes between the main characters of Arax and Yori. Their dialogue and their banter is super fun, and their personalities are at odds with each other in a way that's charming and believable. And on top of that, the story itself is a true journey. It has action, it has stakes, it has everything you'd want from a fantasy adventure like this. Let's check out an excerpt.
"No creature so repugnant could be anything other than a predator."
Arax's head swam side to side in the cool dusk air, staying behind the tall roots of the strange trees. He refused to lose sight of the thing, keeping it in the stereoscope of his swaying gaze. "I don't know," Yori said, his head still but partially hidden. "It doesn't look dangerous to me." The creature in the grass clearing lurched and bobbled toward the river and its crystalline current. the same river that Arax and Yori had been following for what seemed like weeks. The new creature's head was of ridiculous proportion, a chubby globe plopped atop round folds making up arms and legs. It crawled, dragging the cloth sack enveloping its lower half through the grass. "I think it's kind of cute, Arax," Yori said. "Those cheeks. You don't want to just sniff them?"
Venom pouches,
Arax said. I guarantee it. The non-winged beasts are universally creatures of malice and deceit, relying on tricks and poison rather than strength. The Codex is unambiguous as to...
"I think you might be overreacting," Yori said. So good. Another amazing entry for the lightweight leaderboard this week. Loved that one. In first place on the lightweight leaderboard as of this writing is Tales of Pictavia, with a combined score of 39 points as of this writing. Their top story thus far this month is First the Fish, which was for the first day's prompt. This piece truly deserves the top spot in the current leaderboard. It has an incredibly strong opening, and it drops us right into a mystery that beautifully blends elements of fantasy and sci-fi in true Devine fashion. It also is a story about how fear and uncertainty can spread amongst a community. The opening line in particular is great, like I said. It reads, "It was the fishermen who knew about it first. The water had been getting hotter." That right there is a beautiful balance of intrigue and setting. I'm immediately finding myself wondering what's going on, and I'm eager to learn more, like any great line should do. There's just so many layers, though, as the story goes on, and they blend beautifully. So let's check out an excerpt so you can see what I mean. The old one sighed. Why did the young ones always think they were the exception to every rule? They can boil water, they said. They'll cook you alive. We'll be fine, said the younger ones, laughing at how afraid the old ones were. They would never get like that and be scared of their own shadow, afraid of everything they did not know. The next morning, when they went to the shore, with a hope they now suspected was futile, they saw it. A great dark tower had grown overnight, projected high into the sky. Water was still running off from its eruption. Seaweed, fish, and flotsam and jetsam tumbled from the top. The stench was rank, as it must have churned up the bottom of the ocean and things long dead, long forgotten. We have to go, the young ones said. The old ones urged caution. We do not know what is in there. Better to let someone else chase it. Don't you remember the stories? The stories were many, and they had all heard them told in the boats while they bobbed on the star-reflecting ocean, waiting for the right time to cast the nets. There was the one about the Finn folk, the one about the evil, the one about the people who went to find a sunken city and did not come back. Could it be the sunken city? The young ones asked each other. Maybe. I mean, if something can sink, maybe it can unsink? Rise, said another. Maybe it can rise. It was always said they had different technology. Better technology. Maybe they found a way to reverse the sinking. So good. And congratulations once again to Tales of Pictavia for the first place spot on the mid-month leaderboard. A well-deserved ranking after a story like this, and of course the other ones they have submitted. And that's it for the current lightweight bracket standings. There's still 2 weeks left in the challenge as well, so if you have yet to dive in, now is your chance. Let's move on to the middleweight bracket. As of this writing, our middleweight bracket actually only has one author, and it's Bradley Hurt. Now, one thing I'll say is that Bradley has a commanding lead here. Other authors with between 125 and 300 subscribers can join this challenge and the bracket, respectively, to compete, but he does have a good head start. His current score is 123 points, and his top story for the month is Into the Great Unknown. So let's check it out. This one is written like the kind of rhyming tale you'd hear a bard like Fintan Merrybrook tell to a tavern full of travelers. It has a beautiful rhythm and flow that makes you want to grab a drink and lean in. Bradley's done a few pieces like this lately, and I really enjoy them. And this is a story here for Day 3's prompt, which featured a horse-drawn carriage and a dragon soaring in the skies ahead in the art. Bradley took this depiction of a journey in motion and ran with it in his piece here. There's a wonderful sense of curiosity in each line that I really enjoyed. Let's check out an excerpt. Together we search the roadside, as it leads us through the dense wood. Albert's keen eyes keep sharp lookout for those who may be up to no good. The ones back at home surely await me, whenever this journey may end. They hold great hopes for my success in finding the youth that they seek. For many have suffered with illness and the loss of a healthy physique. My hopes hold for new beginnings. That is my wish for all the folks. A new age of happy, pain-free living, full of laughter and stories and jokes. Congratulations again to Bradley for holding down the middleweight bracket fort. Nice work here. Great score. And remember, like I said, there's plenty of time to join if you want to compete in this bracket, but be forewarned, you will have strong competition. Finally, a look at the heavyweight leaderboard here in the middle of the month. In third place on our heavyweight leaderboard as of week 2 is Gracie Autumn with a score of 17 points. She has one entry so far, with another one that just went live before I recorded this. But her top story as of this recording is Starfall, which was a story for day 1's prompt. So we heard Smog mention this story on last week's episode, and I'm really excited for the chance to finally read it myself. And right off the bat, I gotta shout out the beautiful introduction here. These opening paragraphs bring themes of magic and mystery, and a deep history that feels right at home in the realm of Devine. The imagery of the tower is stunning as well. Gracie describes it as having crystalline petals with pure, brilliant white light, and that matches the art perfectly. An early twist in the story as well is that this tower in her story holds a person. His light is so powerful that it pulls dragons to him, but it soon fades when he wakes up. He meets one of the dragons, and they find common ground in that they're both far from home. And that connection right there is so powerful. The themes really resonate throughout this piece. It's one of the best Devine stories that I've read in a while. It's beautiful work from Gracie, so let's check out an excerpt so you can see what I mean. The light that had been emitted from his chest subsided. Darkness fell upon him in a way he had never felt before. Space was dark, but there were others. There were other stars and bodies of light. Here, on this strange alien planet, there was no light at all. Stiffly he stood. Through the crystal walls he gazed out at the lands. A vast sea, a close cropping of trees, and dragons. Hundreds of dragons. One dragon in particular flew close to the temple. Her wings reflected the glow of the moon above. "Where am I?" the Starman asked the dragon. "In the great lands of Devine," she replied. He didn't know what that meant, but he knew he was in trouble. "I don't belong here," he told her. "I'm not sure that's up for you to decide." With strong, sure grace, she continued to fly around the temple. "I'm not one of you," he explained. "It's a mistake. I shouldn't be here." "And where should you be?" "With the other stars, back in the cosmos. Do you know how to get there?" "Sorry," she relented. "I don't." "But you can fly." A gentle sound of laughter poured from her. "Yes, but not high enough for that. I'm sorry." A moment of quiet fell upon the two. The Starman didn't know what to think of the new lands he found himself a part of. "I think you're supposed to be here," the dragon began. "Why do you say that?" "My grandmother used to tell me stories from before her time. She spoke of many things. I don't remember all her stories now, but I remember there was one about Starfall." "Starfall?" "The man who fell from the stars." "What happened to him?" "I don't remember," she admitted. "But I think it was something important." So good. Remember to check out links to all these stories in the show notes. It's a fantastic one. In second place on our heavyweight leaderboard as of week 2 is Lori McIntosh with a combined score of 61 points. Her top story thus far is The Forest of Tadas for day 2's prompt. This story begins with some intriguing folklore about the forest in question. It paints the place as something people avoid, and when they talk about it, they never smile. I love that little detail. Our protagonist is a young girl whose grandparents live near the forest, and one day she hears something calling to her. She resists the call, but it keeps happening. Eventually we learn about what happens when children wander into the forest, and I won't spoil that here, but it culminates in a truly haunting ending that gave me chills. Amazing work overall from Lori here. This was a riveting story told with excellent restraint. It takes a lot not to give away too much too quickly, and it's an excellent entry in that regard. Let's check out an excerpt. The second time she felt the call, she was picking wildflowers. She and her Nana were going to weave them into crowns. This time it was definitely singing, although laughter seemed to be a critical part of its sound. In order to hear it better, she started climbing up to her treehouse, but less than halfway up, it stopped, and then she felt an overwhelming urge to eat the last piece of her Nana's homemade apple pie. Jumping off the ladder before hitting the last rung, she sprinted toward the back door. The third time, she was sitting on the back stoop shucking corn. Her grandfather sat nearby, disassembling an old radio. This time it was the sound of flutes floating across the meadow and up the porch steps.
Grandpa?
"Yes, darling?" he replied.
Do you hear that?
She asked. He put down his tools and came to sit by her, sighing as he lowered himself down. "The flutes?" he asked. Clarissa looked at him with surprise and nodded. "So, you must have heard the singing and laughing by now, too."
Yes, she answered quietly. What am I hearing, Grandpa?
The Fae, sweet girl. The Fae.
Incredible work from Lori there. A damn fine story for our mid-month leaderboard. Remember to check the show notes for links to all these. And in first place, on the heavyweight leaderboard with a combined score of 83 points as of this writing, it's Verdant Butterfly. Her top story thus far is A Captain's Tale, which was for day one's prompt. Now, longtime listeners will know that I'm a huge fan of Verdant Butterfly's work. Not only that, but she's one of the most knowledgeable Devine fans on the planet. I've seen photos of her notebook where she keeps track of the world's history and timeline, and most recently an entire notebook of lore about the Rot from Devine. I love it. It's so cool that Devine has fans like her. And of course, all this means that her Devine stories and poems reach another level every single time. In this piece, she crafts a superb poem that tells the story of the art piece from day one's prompt, and in doing so, she brings in Devine lore surrounding the dwarves and their war with the dragons. And you know what? To celebrate her place at the top of the mid-month leaderboard here for the heavyweight bracket, I'm going to read the entire poem for you right here and now. But not only that, I'm going to bring back a character from Devine who is a ship captain himself. So, get comfortable, and let's listen to A Captain's Tale, as read by Devine's dread pirate, Jameson Netherwave.
Ye ask me why no dragons soar above Devine today. I'll tell the tale my captain shared when winds and tankards sway. When old King Brocknar claimed the throne, his pride burned deep as flame. He swore no dragonborn would live to challenge dwarven reign. The hammers rang through hall and vale, the hunt spread far and wide. From mountain peak to forest deep, the elder dragons died. Yet ere the final worm was slain, or so the old songs say, the mothers turned toward western seas and vanished on that day. He followed through the salt-black mist, across the moonlit foam, not hunters then, but sailors bound to learn where they had flown. Beneath the shattered moon they sailed, through waters dark and deep. The dragons climbed its fractured light, their ancient vows to keep. Beyond Endorian expanse, where mortal charts all cease, a lonely tower crowned the waves in solemn, watchful peace. Its beacon burned with azure flame, its light both cold and fair. The dragons circled one by one, as though expected there. Each carried, clasped with gentle claw, a treasure none could buy. Great silver eggs with inner light, reflected in the sky. He watched them vanish through the gate, no roar nor mournful cry, only the beacon marked the place beneath the silent sky. He dared not cross the threshold there, nor break that sacred vow. Some mysteries are not for men, nor ours to answer now. So if you sail those western seas, and blue flames kiss the night, turn home before the morning comes, and flee that haunted light. For should those hidden eggs awake, and dragons grace the sky, hope mortal hatred's gentle now, and wisdom stands nearby. Pray none recall King Brocknar's words, nor yield to fear and lore, for Davine survived one dragon war. It won't survive one more.
Absolutely amazing. Truly incredible work as always. And now, let's take a look at a few stories randomly selected from the Unranked Bracket. Authors here have the choice to opt in if they don't want to compete in the main brackets and simply wish to share their work. First up in our Unranked Bracket this week is Bloom by Jennifer Jorgensen. This is another author that I love to see joining the challenges and writing prompts. Her work defies description in the best way possible. You can throw any genre, any concept, anything at all at her, and she'll come back with a truly stunning story every single time. This story was for day one's prompt, and damn it if Jennifer didn't make me cry again. She tends to do this with her stories, not as often as J.M. Gooding, mind you, but often enough. So, this story starts with a wholesome scene that really layers on the mystery and intrigue, which is one of the themes that permeates all the entries from this prompt. Soon, though, things become tragic as we realize what's going to happen next. You see, this is a story about sacrifice. It's about one person's brave choice and how it can benefit countless others. It's the story of a cycle that must continue no matter how much it hurts. And as always, Jennifer's stories leave me with a lot to think about, and I love that about her work. Let's check out an excerpt. I looked to where her gnarled finger was pointing. At the base of the tower, the pale green of the grass was growing darker. Even as we stared, the hue deepened from pale fern to meadow green in the darkest jungle shade. It flowed outward from the tower's base in a broadening circle. Wherever it passed, the washed-out land flooded with color, pale stalks straightening, new blades breaking through the black, loamy soil, the whole countryside waking behind it. As the wave reached our hill, the sickly grass around our boots thickened and darkened, fresh shoots forcing their way between the brittle stalks. "It's just as I promised," Grandma wheezed. I nodded. It was. She'd always said the dragons could bring back the land. In the field nearby, the seeds we'd planted weeks earlier began to sprout and grow into tall, verdant stalks. The harvest would be good this year, better than we'd had in a decade. All because of one dragon. "It's time, boy," Grandma murmured quietly. I stiffened as she tugged again at my arm. "No, Grandma, it's not done yet." Her wizened face creased in a sad smile. "It's done enough, child." All right, next up in our Unranked Bracket is A Spire of Magic and Dreams by Leron Haywood. Now, you know I had to have an entry in here from our keeper of the scores, and with this piece, Leron offers up a wonderful slice of fantasy with some really interesting threads that I love to see unraveled in a future story. It begins with a journey out into the ocean in search of answers. The dragons of the realm were being drawn to something, and a small expedition had decided to seek the truth behind what's happening. Soon they make contact with something via a magical device, and from here it's just non-stop intrigue. We learn about something called the Dreamer, and much more. It adds a ton of layers to the setting, and it ends on a cliffhanger that had me dying to learn more. And I think Leron is very good at that, but it's hilarious because they responded to my restack of this story by saying that that was just the point where they decided the story was over and then it needed to end. So who knows, right? Maybe cliffhangers just happen that way, or maybe great cliffhangers happen that way. In any case, that's what I would classify this. Let's check out an excerpt. As they grew closer, the structure itself could be studied. It glimmered in the sun, an ethereal white arm rising from the crashing waves, as if cast from nacre. Impossibly detailed and pristine given its harsh surroundings. Surely such filigree would be worn away in short order by salt breezes. And however would such a tall structure remain stable all the way out here? The captain lowered his telescope and said,
Aye, well, I can see blobs of color moving around up top. At least. Can't think what it'd be except dragons.
One will likely fly over before we can try and duck. The first mate glanced up, shading her eyes, and nodded as she spotted a blot behind them. There we are. They do seem to be getting slower. Suppose there's longer to go with smaller wings, but we'll know for sure soon.
Well, a scholar mused, even if they're landing here, they might merely be resting before traveling onwards.
Nothing to eat, the first mate retorted reasonably. This far out you won't get many fish close to the surface. Can't think dragons dive well enough to catch enough fish to get by. And if you can't eat or drink, rest's just wasting time while you waste away.
The scholars murmured uncertain agreement. What could possibly be calling them out here then? And our final story from the Unranked Bracket this week is Drifter and Dragon by Mary Ellen Brady. Now, for those unaware, Mary Ellen is a 2-time champion of my writing challenges. She's chosen to retire and join the Unranked Bracket, which is totally fair. But I say all that because her stories are champion material every single time. This is another writer who can really do it all. But here we get a look back at how she handles beautiful, wholesome, profound, cozy fantasy. And here's the thing about cozy fantasy. It's a genre that can lean too far into the cozy if you're not careful. Like anything sweet and wholesome, there's a chance that it can become saccharine if you're not careful. Mary Ellen, of course, doesn't have this problem, because in stories like this, the cozy elements are earned, and they carry a deeper message. Here, we join a character named Boo who rescues a baby dragon from a carnival wagon. The dragon is injured, and they come across a farm where they hope to hide. A woman comes to their aid, giving them a place to rest and for the dragon to heal. It's a story that has a full arc for its characters. It earns this quiet moment where they get to reflect and heal. The woman's motivations for helping them are believable as well. All the pieces fit together beautifully. And to close us out here, I want to give a special shout out to Mary Ellen and her girls, who I know are avid listeners of the show. I appreciate all of you very much. And as a thank you for all of your support since the show's beginning, I'd like to read an extended excerpt from Mary Ellen Brady's Drifter and Dragon. Boo found the baby dragon by its aroma. The carnival wagon smelled of trampled hay and lantern oil. Beneath it, cinnamon or perhaps a captured sunbeam. Upon further searching, Boo found it curled in the shadow of a large wheel. A rusty chain looped twice around their foreleg. A real baby dragon. Boo crouched and studied the lock with her chin on her knees.
That looks like it hurts,
Boo said. The dragon didn't answer. She wasn't sure if it even could. Until today, dragons were only in storybooks. Boo reached out and touched the lock. It went cold under her palm. The metal groaned then with a small, resentful crack. It released. For once, Boo's magic didn't hurt anyone. The chain hit the dirt. The dragon looked at the chain. The dragon looked at Boo. They both ran across the prairie grass. Dirt billowed up in the afternoon light.
I'm Boo,
she said, breathless, somewhere past the big top tents.
Yo-haul,
said the dragon. They ran until the tents were nothing but pale humps against the sky. Boo's lungs burned. Yo-haul began to drag their wings. 2 furrows in the dirt behind her. Boo stopped, bent over, hands on her knees, laughing so hard it hurt.
We are being chased so far, but we need a horse,
she said, once she could talk again. Yo-haul cocked her head. Her eyes were creekwater brown, depth to them, with an amber sparkle.
You can't fly yet. Look at you.
She gestured at the folded wings, stiff from disuse.
You need to heal, and I can't run forever. So, horse.
Where?
Yo-haul said. Boo looked around. Prairie grass rolled gold in every direction.
There,
Boo said, pointing at the smudge of trees.
I can do some work and trade for one while you heal.
They walked toward the tree line and found a fence. Definitely a farm of sorts. Yo-haul limped a little. Her leg, where the chain had been, created a raw ring. Yo-haul leaned in as they walked toward the homestead. The barn looked as though it was held together by suggestions and prayer. It would stop fighting gravity any day now. Perhaps Boo's magic could get them a place to sleep tonight and a horse. Only one way to find out. An older woman stepped out onto the porch. She wiped flour from her hands onto a faded gingham apron. Silver curls pinned back loose.
Well, the woman said, haven't seen one of those since I was knee-high to a hopper.
Boo froze, ready to run again.
Ma'am, we don't want any trouble. Didn't imply you brought any.
The woman came down the porch steps slowly. She crouched and looked at Yohal's raw leg without touching it.
That's carnival burn. If I ever. You cut her loose? Yes, ma'am.
Good. She stood as her knees cracked like dry branches.
I'm Nan. Got a barn full of chores. More than I've got hands to do 'em. And the mare's been wanting company since my husband passed. You work, you heal, I'll feed you both. You sleep in the loft.
Just like that? Boo said.
Just like that. World's got enough folks in trouble. You rescued her, I get to help out.
Nan looked at Yohal for a moment longer.
She's the one who needs earning time more than you do, anyhow. Wings don't fix themselves in an afternoon.
So they stayed. And if you love that excerpt, be sure to check the show notes for a link to the full story, and of course links to all the stories featured today. And before we move on, my friends, I wanted to just thank you again for everyone who submitted to the challenge so far. This is truly some of the best work I've seen yet from all of you. I'm really blown away by the talent that surrounds me here on Substack, and I just really appreciate your time, your creativity, and your support more than you know. So thank you. And speaking of support, let's talk about my cosmic horror novel. That's right, my friends. For the first time in months, I've got a novel update for you. So let's check it out in a brand new novel update segment. Alright, if you can believe it, my friends, I have enough news here to justify an entirely new segment solely for updates on my in-progress cosmic horror novel right here on the show. It's a miracle. I'll be checking in each week here moving forward to let you know what got done and what's next for this project of mine that's been 10 years in the making. Shout out to Happy Nielsen as well for holding me accountable. She's one of the reasons this book is finally moving forward again. Sometimes we all need a little push to get going, especially with a project like this. And for those unaware, this is the first book in a planned trilogy. It's set in the near future after humanity narrowly avoids extinction at the hands of an asteroid. What we didn't realize is that it was never an asteroid. It was a prison. Inside was a parasite unlike anything we've ever seen on Earth. When we destroyed the asteroid to save ourselves from extinction, we set it free, and it rode the shards through our atmosphere down to the Earth. This first book details the fall of civilization through the lens of 6 POVs, all of whom have a unique perspective on what's going on, and all of them connected in ways that you won't expect. This project has been in some form of production since 2016. So yeah, 10 years that I've been working on this book. Recently I've gotten back into it, and I'm making progress every single day. I just recently crossed 40,000 words in the current draft, and I'm using an outline I did a few years back to guide me forward. Now, my goal right now is to just finish the first draft. I'm fully aware that some POVs are going to need more or less chapters, and the order of things may need to shift, but I'm working with what I've got, and I'm powering through to get to the end of that draft 1. Anything else can and has slowed me down in the past, so I'm ignoring imposter syndrome, and I'm powering through. And now to this week's update. I wrote 2 chapters of the book this week, each of which featured a separate POV. I'm going to share a little behind-the-scenes look at it, but I'll be keeping this section spoiler-free now and going forward. The first chapter I worked on was Chapter 18, which was from the perspective of a musician named Emil Holst. Emil's story in the novel revolves around something he saw that challenged everything he thought he knew about the alien parasite currently sweeping the Earth. This discovery sets him down a rabbit hole of conspiracies and dark truths. In Chapter 18, a tense scene unfolds where he's forced to audition for a role in an orchestra that he doesn't remember applying to, but as a musician, he knows it needs to be done. So, I hear you asking, what inspired this chapter? Well, I myself played French horn for 6 years in middle school and high school. I played in numerous concerts and in several competitions, including marching band. And one thing I remember is the pressure of it all, the intensity of the band director, the punishment that came with every little mistake and missed note. I channeled that into this chapter. Emil's situation is dire. He needs to perform, or he'll be subjected to a fate worse than death. Also completed this week is the first draft of Chapter 19, which is from Oliver Reed's perspective. This chapter is hard to avoid spoilers on, so I'm going to keep it vague. Essentially, in this chapter, Oliver comes face to face with the mastermind behind a cult that has known about the parasite's arrival and even prophesized it long before the asteroid was even on our radar. He learns a lot in this chapter, not only about the truths of the story, but some dark truths about himself as well. His character is addicted to a drug called Dilate, which is manufactured from plants that only grow around places where the asteroid's shards landed. In this chapter, he'll learn the true cost of his addiction. This is one of those pivotal moments in the story that's been living in my head rent-free for years. It was simultaneously exciting and terrifying to write. It's really important to the overall narrative, but I reminded myself that this is just the first draft, and that took some of the pressure off. And hey, if you like this new segment, please let me know in the comments. I'll be sharing more updates in the coming weeks as I continue to make progress on this book. And I hope that it inspires all of you to continue working on your novels and your long-term writing projects. A huge shout out again to everyone who's been supporting me in this project since I joined Substack. I really appreciate all of you. All right, let's wrap things up with a look at next week on Substack. So next week is week 3 of the Smogust Story Hoard Challenge. And like the past 2 weeks, we're taking the weekend off here, so there won't be any new prompts until Monday, August 17th. That is by intention. We're trying to create a little space for everyone to catch their breath and to catch up if you would like. And as a reminder, if you join the challenge and enter into one of the 3 ranked brackets, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there are prizes on the line. Each bracket's winner will get a special interview right here on the podcast, and they'll receive a brand new art piece from Circus Dragon herself, which that alone is huge. And yes, I am jealous. And yeah, in addition to more prompts, I'm going to make more progress on the novel this week as well. I'm thinking of ways to offer more updates or something so everybody can stay in the loop. But I'm going to be working on that and the next chapter of The Order of the Pawn as well, since I've decided to make those 2 my primary focus areas, and I'm sort of alternating a chapter here, a chapter there kind of thing. Beyond that, as you saw this week, I'm going to drop new poems and short fiction when inspiration strikes and I have the time, but overall, I'm trying to finish these projects in front of me that you keep hearing me yap about each week on the podcast. And of course, the podcast will continue as always next Saturday with a new episode. So that brings us to the end of this episode, though, my friends. I gotta say, it's truly the highlight of my life, being able to come onto the show each week and have this opportunity to talk to all of you about the craft of writing, and more importantly, about the work that you do and the amazing ways that it inspires me. Honestly, all of you, each and every single one of you listening right now, you inspire me every single day. And I'm so grateful that you've decided to spend time here with this podcast, with this community, with the challenges, with everything. Really, really appreciate you. So, as always, I'm wishing you all a safe and productive week of writing, and I'll be back next week to look at more stories from the challenge. In the meantime, this is Bradley Ramsey, signing off.
Hey, Lord Devereaux?
Yes, Smog. What is it?
I brought you some stories from the challenge.
You did? This is quite unexpected. Oh, and they're Devine tales, no less. Did you tell Finton?
No. I thought maybe you and I could, eat them together.
I would like that very much. Oh, and Smog.
Yeah?
Do not ever tell Finton about this. Now, let us eat.